After high school, I did customer facing roles as well. It means that I was at the till selling things. People enter the shop, they went to the shelves, they collected the things they wanted to buy, they came to me, they queue up, they get to me, eventually they get to me, and then I needed to look at the products, their chosen products. I put it in the till and then sum it up, and I told them that £10, £15, whatsoever. And back in those days, it was mostly cash. They paid with cash, not with card. They paid with cash, and I needed to give them change, and that's it. They left, and I served lots of people in one shift, lots of them, and I never even 1 second thought of them. Never even 1 second thought of them, how they look like, how they dress, or anything like that. Never. But now we have TikTok, we have all these social media apps, and people, they are very honest about these experiences. And they have very interesting thoughts, which I never had. One of my best friends is flying to Japan, and a couple of years ago, I wanted to go there with a visa to work there for a year to to experience the culture. But then so many things happened, and they closed down the border and so on. And now I don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm very excited about my friend who is flying there this weekend. But back a couple of years ago, back in those days, I was preparing to fly to Japan and learn about that culture, learn the language, learn everything what they can offer. And I was watching different kind of channels, YouTube channels. I was reading different kind of blogs and so on. And still to this day, I follow a couple of them. And one of the guy who is very interesting to me, actually, he is working on a farmers market selling vegetables. And there was a lady, so that was his story. There was a lady there who bought tomatoes, and he said that there are many people selling tomatoes there. He's one of the it's more on the expensive side. It's not he's not using the average price for it, because they're spending so much money to get the tomatoes just in the right taste. So that's why they're spending lots of money, they investing lots of money to get the right sort of tomatoes. That's why it's a bit more pricier than the other ones who are selling tomatoes in the farmers market. So this lady went there and ordered 1 kilos of tomatoes, and this guy who did this YouTube said that the lady was not happy with the price and said, okay, let's do, instead of 1 kilos, let's do half a kilos. And still, even half a kilo, the lady was not happy about this, not happy about the price. And then this guy, who later made a YouTube video, living in Japan, selling fruits and vegetables on the farmers market, said that this lady was wearing Louis Vuitton bag, Louis Vuitton dress. So altogether, she was wearing very expensive stuff and was complaining about the price of tomatoes. Long story short, he decided to give it to the lady for free, but give one advice to her and said to her, go home and try this tomato, and you will understand why we're selling it for this price. Because these tomatoes, they are not from abroad, they are not from a factory or anything like that. This guy has his own farm, and he is producing the tomato which he sells in the local farmers market. So that was the story, and this is absolutely fine. But the problem here, and I want to talk about this, that this YouTuber who is producing tomatoes and selling it to the local market, he was, for some reason, he was judging the way how the lady looked, and that she was complaining about the price. She spent so much money on her Louis Vuitton bag, so much money on her wallet, so much money on her dress, her appearance, and he did not like it that he cannot afford the tomatoes he was selling. So he turned this story into a social commentary that people, they just forget their priorities. But this is very difficult, because when you look at someone, you cannot say what kind of person he is because he's dressing this or that way. I personally, back in my home country in Hungary, in the capital, there is a river called Dunaub, and there's an island there, which is called where they build the ships, because it was a factory. It used to be a factory, it's not anymore. And I worked there for one single day. And it was absolutely normal that the people who worked there, they could bring home the clothes. And it was a very, very good brand. And it was free for the workers. Obviously, you cannot take the whole thing, but if you like one or two, you could take it. And then later on, years and years later, I worked for a publishing company, and it was absolutely the same thing. If I like a couple of books, I could take it home. And if I walk on the street with those books, people could think that, oh my God, I can afford all these books. No, 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 I get it for free because I work there. When I, for example, lived in New York, one of the best dressed friend we had, he, for example, he dressed for free because he was working in places where they were doing photo shoots, and they used the clothes for just once, just to you know take the shots, take the photographs, and after that, that's it. They discarded them. So he decided to, the ones that was fitting him, he just took it home. That's it, for free. So when you look at him, he looked like, oh my God, he's earning $1 million every single day. But no, it was not the case. He just got this stuff from work, and probably he couldn't afford the tomatoes in a farmer's market either. You cannot judge the people how they dress at all. And I was so sad when I heard this story, selling simple, obviously not simple, selling tomatoes, a simple story of selling tomatoes in Japan, turning into social commentary, because it just not work. As I said, after high school, I traveled the world and ended up in London, UK, where I am right now as well. And I worked in customer facing roles where I was at the till, charging people, taking their money, and I looked at their products, and I never judged them, because maybe they don't even buy the stuff for themselves. Maybe they buy it for someone because they are like personal assistant to a big CEO. You absolutely never know. And the dress, maybe they bought it for themselves, maybe the grandma bought it for them, or they kind of find it at work. You never know. You cannot judge people like that without asking them, without any extra information. And for me, that this is a trend on TikTok and other social media platforms, that people talk like this about their work, about their customers. This is just not good at all, because there are different stages of life, especially when you are in London, and probably it's true to Japan as well, when you work on the farmers market. Different stages. For example, you are, for example, looking for a husband, or you're looking for a wife. You obviously, when it comes to your priorities, you're gonna spend more money on your hair, on your clothes, on your appearance, definitely, because you are looking for someone, you're looking for a partner for life. And there could be a stage when you're looking for a job. You already have a job, which is a well-paying one, but you want to have a better job. Obviously, again, you're gonna spend a lot of money on your appearance, and you're gonna walk around in the city in a completely different energy. For some reason, it's absolutely acceptable that people in pajamas and flip-flops, they walking down to the local pizza parlor to buy a slice of pizza and then walk back home. But if they dress like James Bond in tuxedo, or ladies dress in nightgown or something, it's like walking out from the Met Gala, that immediately, everyone feel inspired to make a TikTok about this. For example, now we have a new Pope, Leo the 14th, the first American Pope. And if every single country should send one person, and my country should send one person, I want the person to dress as best as possibly could. And if after that she goes to buy tomatoes at the local farmers market, maybe she gonna wear the same dress, and it's all good.